When you find a real When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. Today, I'm got a special guest, friend of mine, BEN EILERS. How are you doing today, Ben?
I'm doing great, Andre. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for my listeners, I met Ben last year at Shareholders, and we stayed in touch ever since. Matter of fact, he actually was in town here in my new place in Florida a month or so ago, and made arrangements. He stopped in and spent a couple hours, get to know him better. So that was awesome. I really appreciate that. Shows your heart, Ben, of just knowing and wanting to get to know people better. And that was pretty awesome. But yeah. And that's when I asked you to be on my podcast. So thanks for joining us. But yeah, Ben's been in the past 10 years. Him and his partners at AgentHUB360 have worked with hundreds of agents inside their businesses. They've also worked with leaders at the highest level in the industry, including EXP, Showcase IDX, and organization builders with thousands of agents. Their purpose has been to solve real estate agents' biggest problems, which is, most of us, can be overwhelmed and exhausted trying to figure out how to do business and how to get everything done. And these guys have put a system and a platform all together that really can help us just sell more properties and do what we do best. Sell more homes, and they do a lot of the background stuff. They have an entire team. We want to unpack today what Ben and his organization is doing at AgentHUB360, and excited to share this with my business partners and listeners.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for having me, Andre. And one of the reasons I wanted to be here is because I heard about you long before I met you, and what I love about that is that the way people in your organization spoke about you. And I think it says so much. And Susan Zabramsky was the one that at Shareholders says you have to meet Andre, but just kind of the love and affection and their sense of how committed you are to them was just really alive in your organization. And those are the kind of people that we definitely are aligned with. And so thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just jump right in. You can tell us a little bit more of your background, Ben, and then I'm just going to ask why you created Hub360 and to describe it for us so we can learn what you're doing. But yeah, give us a little bit of your background.
Sure. Well, I've been in real estate my whole career, and really what I've seen and what we've all experienced is that complexity has just kind of taken over the industry, and that agents at all levels are struggling to not just produce, but to have a business that creates a quality of life that they want. And what I saw years ago was a good friends and really great agents were just having a lot of difficulty. Not that they weren't doing transactions, it was that they were not able to get beyond just operating and doing transactions, and the level of exhaustion and overwhelm has just increased more and more over the years. And that's really the number one problem, I think, for agents today, is that they're dealing in an industry that has become so complex because technology has completely changed the game. And yet agents are still trying to grow a business in a very old model that no longer works, and it's not their fault. I think that would be the primary message, is that, agents are working harder than ever. As you were just saying, I meet with hundreds of agents a year, consulting one-on-one on the structure of their business and what they need to do to handle what's happening in their world so they can grow a quality of life not just the number of transactions. And so what you hear is that overwhelm. And I think, I mean, I've got Post-its all along from quotations from people, just because to remember. I mean, like one, an agent, 8 years in the business, did 55 transactions last year in New Hampshire. I mean, this is a good agent. Anybody would want 55 transactions. And he said in our initial consultation, he said, Ben, I did 55 transactions last year, and I had zero joy at the end of it. He said, I wanted to jump off a bridge. And it's because he was working incredibly hard, but he was spending a ton of money to try to get those transactions. And he knew that if he ever stopped, it all would come apart. And he just didn't see another way out, right? And I'm sure you experienced that yourself, Andre. I mean,
the transactional treadmill is a real thing.
Right, it is. And so much of the coaching and the conversations agents are in are about how to get more transactions. Yet when they start the year over, they don't have a bigger business. They've just done more transactions in the past, and it doesn't, they'll get some more transactions going forward, but it doesn't alleviate the pressure and the chaos that they're in. And, another agent in Chicago, 30 years in the business, 1,400 transactions plus.
Wow.
And she said, Ben, I'm too good of an agent to have a business that looks like mine does. And, just that sense of, hey, I can't work any more than I'm doing, and I can't stop, because if I do, it all is going to end.
Right.
And so how do great agents really build a future that they want to live into? And that's what we've been dealing with. You know what? We could talk a little bit more about that. I think just in summary and I think what kind of connected to you is when we had a conversation, and I was saying, what we've spent a decade on is putting together the systems and the support that agents need, essential to building not just a business that grows larger and larger over years, but a business that really provides for that great quality of life.
That's what I love, is that, the back end support that you guys provide with your entire team, so the agents can do what they really love doing. Just being out in front of the clients, but having systems in place, just saving a ton of time and energy and money. So I'm excited to share what you're doing with our listeners.
Well, good. Why don't we share a screen here real fast, and
Okay.
I'll so what are agents dealing with today?
Yeah.
It's this. I playfully named, hang on a sec, let me shift something here. So, I when we were talking about this podcast, I meant this, although some people might think that this is an overstatement, but free to be great. I mean, really allowing agents to be free to really be great at what they do.
Right.
And agents aren't feeling that freedom because of this. This is the picture of an industry that's gotten really complex, right? And almost every agent identifies, here they are in the middle of everything, trying to put all the pieces together and being pulled in too many directions, and it's really just too much. And especially because I know, Andre, you and I have been in the business about the same amount of time, 30 plus years.
Right.
When we got in the business, this was the scope of what an agent's role was, which was, connecting with great people, guiding them through a complex process, and being really masterful at this, serving. And that's what agents want to be doing, is be freed to play this role and also be free to be the business owner. And yet they're spending more and more time here running in circles, trying to figure it out. And there's really not been a clear path. What's happening is just their clients, their closings, and that quality of life we've been talking about are seeping through all the cracks everywhere. And so it's something that we've really started talking about, are those 5 things that are preventing agents from doubling their business. Agents want to double their business, but some of those agents, like I'm talking about, that have done a lot of transactions, it's not doubling their business. It's actually being able to pull back from being.
Oh, we lost you for a minute. I know you said you had some storms going on where you were, so you froze up. Hopefully you'll be coming back here in a second. There you go. You froze up just for a second there with the storm.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, everyone. I'm dealing with a storm here. Don't feel too bad. We're on the coast of the Mediterranean in Spain, so it's an awesome place to be. I'm looking at the Mediterranean right out behind my screen here, but
That's
pretty
awesome.
stormy today. So number one is agents are forced to play too many roles,
Right.
because the role has grown much bigger than just being an agent today. And what essentially that's done is that they're being forced to do things they don't want to do, they're not good at, or they just don't do at all, but feel really guilty about it, and it's exhausting them. And because they're doing so many things, they don't know where to focus. Like, what's going to make the biggest difference? And so they dabble here, they dabble there, they'll try something else. But really, as someone who ran one of the states in EXP said to me this about a year ago, 2 years ago, she said, listen, Ben, a lot of us top producers would want to tell you, but we don't know what our highest priority is when we get out of bed every day, because we got so many high priorities, right? Where to focus? What's going to make the difference, and where your energy is really going to produce results? And their contacts and clients are not in one place. They're scattered everywhere, like this picture here. You know, you've got leads in one platform and things being dumped over there. You've got, you know, some people in your old spreadsheets or your last brokerage's CRM. You've got them in your cell phone and on your social media, but relationships aren't being managed in one place. They're everywhere because it's just too much for an agent to handle. And so with that, how do you build a relationship business over time that takes years to build and grow and have people go into transaction if they're not all in one place? And nobody can help you on that. And one of the big things today is that there's so many pieces of technology. The tech stack is not all connected. The agents are dealing with lots of pieces of technology. We're going to talk about this. I'm going to show an image in a minute about the tech stack. It's a big piece of what we do. But they're not connected. So not only is their database not organized, not everybody's connected to a buyer search, and then their listing marketing is over here, and there's lots of other marketing they're pushing out over there, but it's not all working together to have a comprehensive compounding return. And so it's one of the reasons today that agents really are struggling is because they're juggling technology they can't use effectively, and they can't connect. And I think lastly, it's this: trying to figure it all out alone, because who's helping you? Really the biggest challenge is in this chaos today is that there's no clear path out of here. And what are the agent's choice? Create a team, start a team, or join a team, which historically has not been a great structure for either the team owner, who generally is a great producer, brings on people like that guy that said he did 55 transactions. He had just started a team 60 days earlier. And that's one of the reasons he called AgentHub. And now he's onboarding with two of his team members that he had brought on, because he's saying, listen, I really can't manage any more of this. It usually pulls the top producer off their game. Their costs go way up. And also, like Carrie Shull said, you know, you had posted that video about Carrie Shull, who brought over
the video. Yeah. She's a pretty big agent in DC, and she came partnered up with us at EXP. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I think she was doing something like $700 million of business, a massive producer. She said what she realized was that her team structure, what ultimately had her move to EXP, was that her team structure was not expansive enough for agents to be able to grow their own business. Right. And so the team structure hasn't worked, and getting a coach to deal with pieces of the chaos hasn't been comprehensive enough. And as a lot of people, coaches know, is it gets really frustrating, is that agents can't implement the great ideas because of all the chaos and all of these other pieces that are pulling them in different directions. And so anyway, what are your thoughts or comments? What are you seeing in this, Andre?
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of share with the listeners, you know, basically what you guys have created to help the agents, you know, get out of that, what do they call it, chaos,
right?
And be able to focus on what they love doing, and how your team is behind them with the tech stack and people calling and putting everything together, so that the agents can do more of what they love doing being out there in front of your clients and getting to them quickly, because you guys handle a lot of the back end stuff and put everything together so
Right.
they can really have a real business. You know, when
Yeah.
agents get to a certain level and you just can't work anymore, you can't do more than you're already doing, not enough hours in a day. You know, the first thing, you know, let's hire a virtual assistant or hire an administrative person to start duplicating, themselves basically, and so they can do the more money making activities, and hire out people to do the less the other activities that are very important but not high dollar amount, and how you guys actually can be a resource instead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on. Is what we spent a decade doing is okay. What's really going to be the change here? That's what's going to make a difference in a business that continues to get more complex and harder for the agent to manage, and their quality of life continues to go down. So let me share a couple more things here, and I'd like to show you what it is that we've actually done. So
Okay.
this coming up is a picture of a complete business model. Most agents feel tremendous relief when I show this and we're going through this. I want to talk about various components of this, but basically when we talk about freeing the agent to be great, it's allowing the agent to be on this side, the right side of their business, doing what they do best, what they want to be doing, and taking all of that complexity you saw on the chaos slide and putting it over here in the hub, so that we're handling each of these pieces so that it makes a little more sense. But essentially, what agents experience from having all of that put together, I'll go back to that, is that what they experience is a clear path from where they are to where they're trying to get to, and they experience their business growing. And that's a huge part of being a professional. I just threw this on really fast right before, but one agent I love, he said, it's like you're my missing link. He said, now I see that my efforts they put in has a real return, and that it's scaling my business in a way I couldn't do on my own. I mean, again, part of those 5 things that's preventing them is that it's beyond their ability. It's not their fault, but it's too complex. So now he's experiencing that forward motion and being able to put his efforts in and seeing the impact. This just came in last week. It may or may not be appropriate to throw on a screen, but for me to remind myself of the details. This is a text that was sent to the leadership team last week from one of our agents, now a 2-time icon, does a lot of business and has been in the hub about 7 or 8 months maybe now. And she said she was celebrating. She had just closed an $18,000 deal, a commission to her. And what she'd sent was, I met this client at an open house back in February of 2021. This deal just closed. And she said at the closing table, she was asking, what happened that had you reach out to me, because she hadn't been in touch with them for about 18 months.
Wow.
And they reached out and called her, and the husband said, I just wanted to let you know that I thought it was genius of you to keep following up with my wife. And the agent, Kristen, said, but I didn't follow up. She had tried. She had, right after she and never spoke to them. And then subsequently, she joined the hub, and we started managing her entire database and some other things I'll describe, and then started the follow-up and the human-to-human follow-up.
Right.
And she looked back and she saw that over the last 7 months, we had called consistently to connect and had left 7 friendly, non-salesy voicemails, just reaching out. And the wife felt like, wow, Kristen's really put together. And that ended up in an $18,000 deal. That's why they called her, because of how she showed up in the business. Really has an impact. So let's just look at some of these details. So the point is allowing an agent to be free to be focused here on the clients and the closings, which is what agents want, and then shielding them from details. because that's the big problem. Doing too many roles, not knowing where to focus, all those things we were talking about. That's what we're shielding them from, and also we're doing the things that they don't do, don't want to do, can't do consistently. And it starts with, first of all, structuring their database. When we talked about one of those number one things, or those things, the 5 things, is that their relationships are scattered everywhere. We bring them all into one place. We structure the database, and then we manage it for them, especially this gold mine of people they've already met. And then it's about integrating all of their technology. I'm going to talk about this in just a second real fast, but this is your entire tech stack, all whatever these pieces are. There
Right.
could be 1,000 of them up there, but then integrating them into a structure that's specifically designed to manage and move all these pieces. And this is what the hub is the people, process, technology put together and managed for the agent. That's what the agent really needs, is that team doing things and having all the components operate like a complete business. And so what the hub is 3 business centers in one place, which is a follow-up center, an operations center, and a business planning center, all put together and managed for the agent. And what this does, is this too much detail, Andre?
No, this is great. It's really kind of giving people a visual of what you guys do in the background, and I'm excited to you'll be able to kind of share as well. The different agents that you can help. It could be
Okay.
Agents that from, I think you said 0 to 150 people in their database, from 150 to what, 200 or 300 to obviously hundreds or thousands, because some of my team members have some pretty huge databases and pretty good businesses, but we have a lot are at the beginning or in the middle, and I know you have different structures to help everybody depending on where they're at, so you can get them where in the beginning and start moving them up as their business grows.
Yeah, and let me get to that then in just a moment, because here's the point has been for us, is to transform how agents are supported and organized so that they can really be free to be great and have great businesses that produce a wonderful life, right? And so let's talk just a little bit more about those details. Let me go back to sharing here for a second. So great. So we were just talking about, this is a complete business model and a clear path for an agent, really simplifying what they're doing so that they really get a good return, putting in that missing link, as what Agent Scott was saying. Here's what happens when you close all the gaps and it's put together as a complete business. Not only does the agent feel relieved and freed, but the transaction naturally expand. If you see here on the left side, and they expand not because things are being produced out of thin air, it's that the business is already there. It's just that the agent can't access it in the middle of chaos because it's seeping everywhere. And most agents, especially they've been in the business for a while, I'll ask them, how many transactions have you lost in the last few years? And good agents will say one of 2 things. Oh my God, it's in the millions. Or number 2 is, it makes me want to throw up to think about, right? Because it's because there's just the relationships are there, and they're meeting people and they're buying leads, and people are coming in on their listing marketing or whatever boosts and posts they're doing, but they can't manage it all so that they can get them to a closing. So now when you close those gaps and you add team in there managing the details behind the scenes for an agent, those expand. And then this is the part, Andre, and we're going to build on this, is that an agent gets to a place of overflow transactions and choice. And that's really when we're talking about when an agent has a business that's well structured, which is really what the operations center and the follow-up center doing all of that stuff is. And when an agent knows how to work with this, what ends up happening is what they need more than anything, I need to get some of this writing off the page, is that what they need more than anything is to know what's going to make the biggest difference in their business, where to focus their energy. And that's what the planning center does. And that's ultimately what agents really experience as incredibly powerful. And that's where they're working off of a strategy like, hey, I'm going to boost up my listing marketing or whatever, buy more leads or do other things to create more outflow. Or there's things like, I'm going to focus on listings and refer out my my buyers, or those kind of things. But once the agent gets to this place, and most agents that have been in the business know that they can be here, but the worst thing is that they just don't know how to get there, and no one's helping them do that. And that's why we've put together this structure. So then there's things we can go into. I don't know if you want me to get into it. I just the tech stack. There's a lot to talk about in the tech stack, but it's having all of this work as one, and then being centrally managed in one operation center, so that you have compounding results. There's things like, okay, everyone's being managed in your CRM, and the best CRM for you, by the way, is not the one you're using, because you're probably not really. Right. You might have something stuffed in there. The best CRM is the one that's managed for you, and that's why that's a foundational piece of what we're doing. And then when we've connected to the agent's website and their buyer search and their homeowner report, we're having their clients get great information from the agent's business. That's what will allow great follow-up, because when they're searching, then the communication center knows to reach out to that client and make a call. I mean, I've got hundreds of examples of where just all of this structuring produces compounding results, but you need a team who's specialized in doing these things to do this today. So we can talk a lot more about tech stack and having it all connected, but now you can have a powerful business that grows larger and larger over time.
Yeah, it's like, duplicating yourself, 10 times, because you have all these people in the background that are, following up personally. It's a real person calling your past clients and on your behalf, and being able to reach out to a lead that responded on one of your marketing pieces, and you're out on an appointment. You can't call them right at this second, right? No. So yeah, it's duplicating yourself without hiring, having a high expense to have 5 people working for you, and you have more than that at a fraction of the cost. I just want to reach out to and say thanks, for my listeners here. I see Andy and Mika. Thanks for joining us today. Phil, big power player there, Phil Hahn. Good to see you. If any of you guys have any questions, for Ben, go ahead and put them in the chat so we can ask them. And we're going to be sharing here at the end here, how to reach out to Ben to get more specifics and see how he may be able to help you.
Awesome. I would love it. This is what I'm driving after and been doing for years, is this whole conversation. How do you create it so that agents can really have a flourishing business that's producing what they want, and they also feel that expansion, that growth, because we just, as beings, we're made to grow and expand, right? And just doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transactions and starting all over. Like one icon said to me when he first called me, he said, "We just made icon." The first thing I said to my wife was, "Phew, how are we going to do that again?" Now that agent literally just sent us a message probably 10, 15 days ago. And he said, "Finally, I feel like I'm really being mentored to be a great CEO of our." And I think that's incredibly powerful for a great professional. And you can hear quality of life, you can hear energy and, forward movement. Just to look at some statistics. So I think it's important to just kind of ground this a little bit. When you put all these pieces together, here's just some basic stats. This is the guy that said that we were the missing link. I just pulled up his numbers. They're now bigger than this, but look at all the different places, because we're connecting and managing all this, all these different sources, pipeline calls, online leads, database, all various things. In 7 months they've been in the hub, we had done 4,700 calls, outbound dials. We connected with 683 people. We created 99 deals. I'll define deals as quickly as when we say deals, we're not talking about closings that are things in escrow. It's about someone who has designated a time frame to transact, and now we're managing towards that transaction. That's a deal. Otherwise, there are people like you just did a transaction with, you don't know when they're going to buy or sell again. There's no deal to be tracked. There's just a relationship to be maintained. And we're calling those people directly every 6 months. But other people, as they get close to a deal, we're increasing the call cadence. And then we had done 43 intros to him. But look at the bottom here. This is part of the conversation, though. when we talk about the business having gotten so complex and you need a complete tech stack that's integrated and being managed for you, during this calling, look at what we've done. We had set up 114 buyer searches and 82 homeowner reports, almost 200 people at this point when we took this snapshot of his database, and we continue to work that. And then we're managing those pieces so that the agent is getting, the clients are getting great information from the agent's businesses, not popping off to maybe a national platform like a Zillow or others, right, that they use, right? And this is where powerful results and great follow-up and connection can really occur over time.
We got a couple of questions from Andy Nagpal there. He said, you know, he joined a little bit late and asked if this was coaching or mentoring or a tracking program, and what CRM is this? Well, Andy, it's called AgentHub360. And it's an entire platform. It's your own CRM that you use, correct, Ben? It's your own CRM that you guys have built out that put all this stuff together. And you hire these guys that basically they're like your entire team behind the scenes taking care of you know, all the stuff that he's talking about here. So it's an entire system to help you get organized.
Yeah, what we are is basically a complete business model for an agent, and we're making their business operate like a complete business. But the agent didn't have to put all these pieces together because it is so much bigger than one human being can do. And that's why agents, it's not that they're not doing transactions. It's just that they're not having a business that grows larger and it's providing the life that they want, that they can live into. Especially, by the way, so Andy, you know, one of the fundamental things we're doing is managing the CRM. So we're integrating from all your other sources into the hub, and then we're managing those relationships. So that's a key foundational piece. Without
Andy,
that,
Andy's asking if this is good for Canada, because he's up in Canada, and I know it is. I want you to share with you can help everyone in the U.S. and Canada, correct?
U.S. and Canada. Yeah, it's North America. We just we're in the middle of onboarding, I think, 4 Canadian agents right now. And there's a couple of people up in your Ontario chapter there that I've been chatting with, Andre, in Pierre's structure. But yeah, it's there's a lot to be said here, Andy, and I can go on much longer than maybe some of these people on this call want to. So,
at the end, we're gonna. I mean, there's different levels depending on the agent, the size of their business, the size of their database. And there's different levels, and I think Ben would want to get together with people separately after the call. That's what, you know, you can jump on that link that we've been putting out there, watch a few videos, and then get into Ben's schedule because you really cater to each person individually to figure out what they need and where they are, what's behind them currently, so you can figure out, you know, what's going to be the best fit for them, right?
100%. I mean, we're really seamless with the agent, where the team, the support, and the structure that you want and need, but it's who's putting it together. And our objective is we're not for the masses, honestly. We're for business-minded agents who are really heart-centered, that kind of integrity that I was talking about that you have, Andre, and that you're purpose-driven, you know, that your commitment to this business and to this career is really there. And so you know that you just feel it. You know, you're working hard, but it's not structured right. So that's what we're looking for, and that we're a good fit for, and you're a good fit for us. Here's the point: is we're out to transform the industry by doing this one agent at a time and then one organization at a time. I'm going to explain that in just a second, so that this becomes the model for what's needed today, because agents at all levels are struggling. I promise. I'm not making that up.
There's always, no matter what level that you're at, there's always another level, and we always want to get to that next level.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and it's not all about transactions, but let me show you quickly. How are we doing on time, Andre?
Yeah, we're good. We got about 20 more minutes.
Okay, let me rip through this, and then maybe we can do some questions and stuff. I throw this in here because I think it's an agent is 2 years in the hub. Looking forward, when this snapshot was done, this was 4 months of closings. Looking the next 4 months forward, he had 11 active clients and 14 deals. a couple of data points that are critical. Although the majority of our agents are now icons or icons to start with, you know, and that we're structuring and managing, growing their business. This agent is a great agent in the business 12 years, but is one of those guys that's really struggled to do 20 transactions consistently, you know, 15, 14, 17, you know, 21 maybe, but it's never. And this is what he's got now 2 years into the hub. And this is where the 11 active clients and 14 deals were, is that, look at this. I think the important parts are this. First of all, months since first introduction, 21 months, 20 months, 21 months, 13 months, and on, you know, 8 months from a referral and another 8 months from online. So first of all, the amount of time it takes to grow relationships. This is where conversions from, you know, 20 months ago, that marketing and stuff you did starts to bear fruit, and you really start to see momentum. And this is an agent who is excited not just because, okay, now he's going to he's going to make more in these 4 months than he usually does in a year, and that's only a third of the year. It's this piece down in this lower left corner that I think is really the most profound.
54 more in the pipeline. It's all about the pipeline.
Well, it is, but it's what the pipeline says, which is that, and this is all being managed for him, is that he says, you know, look at my pipeline. And this is a guy that's, when he looks to the future, one of the big problems for agents is that there's no ability to forecast or predict where their business is going to be beyond 4, 5, 6 months, maybe. Even if you're 30 years in the business, you can't see farther than that, and it's just no way to live. And then you're just one transaction to the next because you never know when that pipeline is going to dry up. This guy's looking forward, and he literally said to one of our teammates, he said, look at my pipeline. So I got 54 more in his pipeline. He can see the momentum from 2 years of people in the past and deals and stuff coming to fruition. It's really powerful.
A lot of that's because it's your team that's doing all the follow-up, where the agents, you know, that's where a lot of us drop the ball. You can't, it's hard to follow up for months and months and years and years. You know, if someone's not ready to make a move in 3 to 6 months, we're like, okay, move on, because you have other people that are ready now. But you guys can, your team can do all the follow-up by personal phone calls, texts, etc., on the agent's behalf, and it keeps the relationship going.
Yeah, I just bounce back to this because of what you just said, is that one of our things, of many things that we educate on, is we say the agent in today's business can no longer be the first responder. I don't like to really focus on leads, honestly, because leads are an important part of an overall strategy, but it's not the entire business.
Right.
Right. But an agent, one of the things absolutely they cannot be in today's environment is the first responder, because you cannot follow up 18, 24 times, you know, whatever it is, over a very long period of time to get these kind of results. Because, listen, you will get some transactions, of course, but majority of the stuff is going to seep through. The majority of times, just like that agent I was showing you when she texted us and said, you know, from February of 2021, she had called 5 times after that open house to that person. That's more than most agents would do. And then she stopped. It's not her fault. How long can you do that? If you're as busy as you want to be, you know, building that and doing other things, and maybe you're also focusing on, you know, free XP agents, agent attraction, or just taking some time off and sharpening the saw, right? You don't have time to do all this, and you cannot consistently convert business that you've paid for or people you've connected to 20 months ago, or 20, you know, whatever time frame. So anyway, let's get so Andre, I know here, I want to just finish up a couple of things.
Okay.
Or do you want to jump in here? Is there anything you'd like to say? Or
I think you're doing a great job. I mean, it's giving people a pretty good overall of what you guys do, and I know there's even a lot more to it. But I definitely suggest, you know, anyone interested in just bringing your business to the next level and getting some of your time back, and you need the support and help, no matter what level that you're at. Like we said, there's always another level. You know, I can really speak for Ben. You know, when we first, it's been a while since we first got together at at shareholders, and you followed up, never any pressure, just checking on, seeing how we were on. It was on my time frame. We've gone through a lot with our, moving and so forth. And when I asked you, hey, call me on this day or this week, you always were on top of that. And you guys have just built a really awesome, product and systems, and an overall, the backbone of an agent's business to help someone, bring their business to the next level. And I'm excited to have some of my team members reach out to you, and you'll look at their business one at a time and see, where you guys can fit in. So I think we're doing a good job here.
Okay. Well, thank you for all of that. I mean, I appreciate everything you've said, Andre. I wanted one of these things, if you remember back to the 5 things preventing an agent from having the business they want, whether it be doubling or whether it's more quality of life, or really a primary part of us, and I haven't emphasized it here, is to be building other streams of income from your business and a business you can sell. Because if you're not building value every day you're working in a business, what are you doing? You're just getting a transaction and a paycheck you're working for. We are about creating the primary structure so that you are building a complete business that provides more than just your transactions. It must be, or you will burn out, or you will just have your soul sucked out of a business that's, just, you got to expand as a human being. And that's what we're designed for. So it's the business planning. And here's 3 things. There are actually 5 parts to this 360 business plan. Tom Martin, who's on the West Coast of where you are, Andre, a great organization builder and leader. He said when we were doing this, he said, hey, listen, I believe it all begins with a plan and ends with a plan. I couldn't agree more. But for you to have the clarity, first of all, one of the first things we're doing is doing a tech stack plan with you. So we're talking about all the pieces of tech you're using or the pieces you're not using. Are you using best of breed or all-in-ones, and what are the issues there? And then we're structuring all of that. We're working on the marketing plan for you and a 3-year financial plan. How does all of that fit together? And then, because we're managing, and I could go a whole session on data, but fundamentally what we're doing is managing information. You cannot build a business without information management, and that's what we're doing. So we've got great information specifically about what's happening in your business, where you're strong, where you're weak, what the real conversion rates are across all of these different places that you're connecting to people or have met people or done business. And you're working off of a plan. So that kind of clarity is where then real power comes from, relief comes from, the freedom comes from, because you're doing things that make the greatest difference in your business, in your life. That's how you're going to expand. Let me just finish up on this, because this is, so I know I shared with you, Andre, that over the course of time, we've met with significant leaders in the industry. And I recently had an extended lunch with the CEO of EXP. And we were talking about, okay, the future of real estate and what's happening. He's been aware of what we're doing, but it's this, talking about an individual business model, and that's what we worked a decade on. And then from shareholders on, I think it was one of the reasons we connected last year in part, Andre, was because it was about how do you create a duplicatable business model that can be driven down through an organization to support the entire structure to grow. Because agents come to a brokerage and leave a brokerage, no matter how great it is, because they're looking for a better way to produce. And a lot of the benefits that brokerages offer, agents really can't access. Be it rev share, or be it great pieces of technology, or whatever it may look like, agents can't implement properly, integrate it all. And so they struggle at doing transactions, and they'll go to another brokerage, or they'll go to another team structure, or whatever it is, trying to find a better answer.
Yep.
This is about now you have a complete, and for people that you have an aligned interest in. Maybe this is your flex team, which is what we talk about, a much more expansive team structure that EXP certainly makes possible, and then having a business model that's duplicatable. When we talk about that overflow now, to someone in your organization or in your team, your flex team that you have an aligned in. We're now doing all of that long-term follow-up. So 21 months later or whatever time frame, that then creates the consistent referral fee income to you because you've got a full business that's creating overflow, or you're trying to support agents, or as another great agent said, Ali Partovi, who's also on the East Coast of where you are, he said, listen, Ben, we really focus on, we don't have a front line until we build our agents' front line. And so they focus on supporting them. But each of these agents now has their own growing business, but they're interrelated because we're managing all this information. And I could go years on this conversation, but this is the transformation of now how to grow an organization, really support agents, because this person has, if they're the organization builder or you're the coach for the organization, you have the information of all the details of what's happening in these people's businesses, if in fact you all want to share that. But then you know how many notes they've left, how many tasks they set, the conversion rates, the numbers of people they've added to their database or not, do they get to meetings held, but they don't get to a listing agreement or a buyer broker agreement, and what percentage? So where do they focus? Those kind of things you can coach to the individual, you can mentor them, you can point to the great thing in like the coaching and stuff that's available in your brokerage or at EXP in the world, all of the great things, but agents don't know what to focus on, and they're focusing on the things that they shouldn't be doing. And so they're pulled in every way, and nobody can actually help them, especially not the organization builder, because they're trying to, unless they have a great duplicatable business model that every agent or agents that are a good fit can really use. And so now agents, and that's what we rolled out at Shareholders, could start at an entry level. This always was structured to begin at $2,000 a month, which might ring huge in your head to begin with, but now you can begin at $595 at an entry level to have a core structure of business. And as I said recently in these meetings, was that this is really where your first dollars in your business need to go to, is to your structure first, not to massive amounts of marketing and everything to bring business in, but have the core structure so that when that business comes in, you don't lose it, and it expands and gets bigger and bigger over time. Andre, I'll stop in just a second, because this is really the answer that I personally, and that we've been working on for a long time. This is the answer to huge problems for agents being able to grow organizations, support each other, for agents to actually be able to grow their business is what captured on this image. But the last piece I'd throw in here is this. For agents that are building organizations like in EXP and like you're doing, Andre, and have done magnificently, I think, is that this changes the whole conversation about agent attraction, which is, hey, great, maybe you're doing referrals not just to people in your organization, but also to people that are not in your organization in another brokerage. And you're creating a conversation over time that not only is creating other streams of income, referral fee, consistent referral fee income for you, but now you can have a conversation and say, hey, is where you were doing business providing for the long-term future you want? This is the structure of how I've built my organization and how it continues to grow, perpetual growth, because this is a duplicatable business model that goes way beyond your own ability and need to manage. And this is how now you could do the same thing. And so it alters that conversation, and you have information and stuff you can show somebody besides just, hey, come and, hope you get rev share and this is a better model. I know that's not the whole conversation, but that's what a lot of agents lead with, right? So, okay, I've gone on long enough.
No, that's awesome. It's really, really great information. I'm excited to just have some of my business partners, contact you and have you put a plan together for them of what they can do, what you can do for them, to just get to the next level. I mean, there's all the pieces behind the scenes that agents, things just fall through the cracks. And when you have an overflow of business, like you said, you can start handing it down to your team, et cetera. And you've done a phenomenal job putting this all together. And I think, like that agent said, it's the missing link. So if even if it's a single agent that's thinking about hiring that first admin, well, you got a whole team for less than what you could pay for one admin, right? Per month, you can have an entire team with the CRM, with all the back end follow-up systems in place. And if you already have a good sized team and an organization, you're going to be able to just have even more things that you haven't had time to go through here today, but to help them, just go to the next level. And being duplicatable from the ground up is it's the missing link to give the agents their time back. So I really appreciate your time today, and definitely get to the AgentHUB360.com/learn more, like we have scrolling there, and reach out to Ben and get your questions answered, and see what he can do to help you put this all together.
Great, Andre. Can I the one thing I would add is
Yes.
This is not a magic carpet. This is not about, it's not about, oh, you get AgentHUB360 and your business doubles in 6 months and you never have to work again. That's not this. This is for, actually, this is for people who love to work and have their work turn into something that they really intend to occur. But they're set up to win, because I think that's the number one thing that agents, it just is sucking their soul out, is because they know they're working hard enough, they're spending enough money, they're good enough at what they've done. But why can't they have that great life? They should be able to work hard and win at whatever that is that they're playing. And agents are not experiencing that, or actually experiencing it in a decreasing number over time. And especially, I was just listening on the Agent the EXP leadership meeting the other day that I thought was outstanding. And one of I think he did 150 million in the past year. He said, listen, when the market turns and slows, it's time to put systems in place. And what I'm hearing from agents, which is the common problem, which is they're like, well, you know what, December was crickets, and now I don't know. I know I'm a 3-time icon, but I don't know. And spending a lot of money on other things, and yet the core structure of their business, 6 months from now, their business really won't be any different, because their structure really hasn't changed. They might be marketing, or they're doing videos really well now, and they'll get things in, but it's not fundamentally going to change the business, and they're losing as much business because their database is a disaster, and it's not their fault. Every agent gives themselves a 0 to a 3 in terms of database management, because it's not their job. They're not good at it. But you need to have someone doing that. You need to have someone doing all the follow-up and linking your technology, or else it's going to remain in chaos. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that the results of that are the results that you already know what that's going to be.
It's not scalable or duplicatable. It's only, you're trading time for money, and you can only have so much time to trade for money. You have to have systems, processes, and people behind you to be able to do all the other very important things, especially the management of the database, so you can grow. I think most entrepreneurial mindset agents, even if they're just getting started, this all definitely makes sense. And if you've been an agent for a while, what Ben's been sharing is obviously, you've been there. And if you're looking to just scale your business and have a real business, right? We all kind of have a job, really, until you have the systems and processes in place. And what you've created here is the entire backbone of the back end of the business. So the agent can be out front doing what we do best, and you guys can be in the background with everything else. And I love, having a 3-year plan and really being able to process and go through that with people. You basically have the systems, the CRMs, the coaching, the training, all the accountability, all roll into one with the systems and the tech. And so people can have a real business. So I'm excited to, have our team get plugged in with you, Ben.
Awesome. I could go on for a long time, Andre, but I would love to have my job just completely go away. I do love my job, but to hear agents calling and the consistent stress and exhaustion that I hear is, one agent, it chokes me up every freaking time, is that two-time icon in Dallas, a dad of 3, we met, and he said, yeah, he's the picture of what you think a great agent would look like, right? And he is. But after 20 minutes of talking about the structure of his business, and he was looking down, and we were doing a Zoom together, and he looked up and he said, Ben, I'm a machine, but I can't keep going like this. And he said, I feel like I'm going to break at some point. And he said, I'm going to miss my kids. I don't see how I'm going to be able to actually complete. And that level of suffering, whatever that is, it's just that there is another way. It has to be. And that's why, the need for this is so great. And we do expect that we will be purchased by a large organization. This becomes a model for how good agents that are a fit for this and really are professional and thinking that way. This is how they're going to grow a business, and they're going to show up. Like one of our agents, sorry, one more thing. An agent said she ended up having a lead call her out of the blue, not the same story I was just sharing. And she said, because you kept calling and the way you showed up, I knew you were a professional, and so I trust you. How many agents show up like that or have a lead calling like that, those gifts from heaven, just because your business is structured right?
And even if they want to, and you run out of time. There's only enough time in a day.
Right.
So
anyway, thank you, Andre. Thank you for letting me share this. And for those that, hear this, just reach out, go to the Learn More page, watch the overview video, and then you can reach out and schedule a consultation if you think it's a fit. That's where we would go.
Yeah, and any of my listeners, feel free to reach out to me as well to get any questions that I can answer. Definitely valid for Ben and his business and what they're doing for us agents to have a real business that's going to be scalable. And we all know, the ones that are here on my team with EXP, it's the best real estate company that we've ever been involved with. Other companies as well. This isn't only for EXP. It doesn't matter what real estate company that you're in. Ben's all about helping you grow it, and we're all in this together. And we want to help just make our hard-working real estate agent friends and business partners to have an awesome business that they can sell one day, or step away. Get to their kids or whatever it might be. But in the meantime, get some of your time back in your family life, because you got the whole system behind you. So I really appreciate you, Ben.
Thank you, Andre.
It's been fun, getting to know you better. Thanks for coming to my house.
Post hurricanes.
Yeah.
Wow. What a
I really appreciate you. Thanks, Andy, for listening, and Phil and everyone else, Cindy, and reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll see you next week on the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Andre. See you soon.
Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
What I like best about the Financial Freedom Forever group is that we have a diverse network of high-level producers that mastermind and share best practices to help improve each other's businesses. And the network has become such a close-knit group with such a tight culture that you just won't find anywhere else.
The Financial Freedom Forever group's been absolutely amazing. The training, the coaching, spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching in the past, and I've gotten more out of the last year and a half than I've gotten out of all of them.
I believe if you surround yourself with like-minded people that are doing 10, 15, 20 times more than me and you put together, we all bring each other up and bring our businesses to the next level and our lives. To learn more about how to partner with us, go to partnerwithandre.com or click the link below, and let's have a conversation.